Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it, all by his bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it, all by his bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Now bitch, I'm first green ballin', trying to get my bread long. You know the game gone and my mind been blown. Different decisions that I done made got me fucked up now. Still gon' thug the life I'm living, still gon' hold this shit down. Every day I'm a life, yeah, nigga chasing cheese. And them same niggas that be around, they won't see you off your feet. My mama been doing bad, but I ain't going into that. I done picked that girl up when I caught my first package. I be damn, me and my people hurting for something for a day. That shit happened, the next man ain't getting nothing. Faded the root of evil, and that's my damn best friend. And I put that on my life, ain't nobody gon' fuck with him. You try to jam it, yeah, that ass getting chopped. Trying to serve, ain't got no business on my block, now bitch, you're getting chopped. Now either way you try to fuck with my balls, don't believe that ass getting chopped. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it, all by his bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burn it, all by his bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Now bitch, I'm all about my bread, all by my bread. Now bitch, I'm back in the mix. Them flaky niggas better stand down. Came home, got me some yam, I'm the man now. Niggas, some bitches all from my face, I ain't know who it is. Everybody up from my mix like I'm a hero and shit. Fall back, I'll buy a brick. Right now I'm on a mission, I'm giving you 2 for 20. Got grams going for 50. Putting that in my pockets, the nigga you bullshitting. What the fuck you ain't listen? I done told you I got to get. Nobody depending on me, so it's all mine. I ain't stressing out by myself, that's how it going down. My mama fighting her little addiction, she gon' be alright. Forever tweaking and begging, I put something up on the pipe. It's a little fraction of my life, still all in for a lick. Lurking for fatty, looking for niggas to tone mix. Start to lurking if I'm hurting, different side come out. That flip shit, stop the Jacob, Mr. High come out. Gonna be, you know how I played it all. That nigga burn it.
Welcome to your favorite channel, Pelican Bay Dog TV and News, giving it to you the way I always do, fair and unbiased. Some gonna like it, man. Like I always say, some ain't. Simple as that. Big shout out to the brothers and sisters down in the chat. Everybody tuned into the video. You know, big salute. Everybody take care of them dogs across the world. We about to get into it, man. I'm just gonna talk about Mello Yello, some of the breeders that I got coming, and we talking about these yellow dogs, and we studying pedigrees because these brothers say they can't never get enough of pedigrees. So we're gonna study some pedigrees, and like I said, we're gonna look at Mello Yello them and see where the last out they had was at, you know. And another reason I'm touching up on this, you know, I spoke about this on one of the other videos. Every breeder breed for their own purpose, you know, where I may have a lot of time in with these dogs, and I may know how I want to take these dogs, and I can sell Mello Yello to somebody else, and they're gonna do the total opposite with the dog, you know. And I may say, oh, they didn't make the right breedings. You know what I'm saying? That's why I tell brothers, go back and check the Indian Sunny breedings compared to Pat Patrick breedings, you know. But I just want to you know, start with this yellow stuff right here. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you, we're gonna go back to the outs. Where's any out in the at? First of all, you know, if I see Rattler, and I know Rattler's in a third generation. You know, he's in a third generation. Now, Rattler has an out in him, but I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. What I'm about to do for y'all, we're gonna go to the fourth generation. We're gonna go to the fourth generation, and we're gonna go into every single dog, starting at the bottom of the fourth with Welcome All's Dixie. We're gonna go to Dixie, look at her pedigree. She's off Little John and Shakur. Little John, as you can see, is coming off of straight Chavis dogs. Shakur is coming down off Big John and CP. Now, when we're talking about Welcome All CP, now the importance of this dog, what I'm about to tell you, not necessarily the importance of the dog itself, but to let you see how far the stories that I'm telling you go back. I'm telling you about the brother that I met or the man that I met named Mr. Claude Puckett, who was dealing with Mr. Burns and the rest of these brothers. Mr. Claude Puckett is where the name CP come from. You know, that's where the name CP come from. So that lets you know how far, we're talking when I start telling you this story about Mr. Claude Puckett and my dealings with him, and why I keep bringing it up, where his dogs went at, because he was just as important in this little circle that these brothers got between Burns, Tant, Mr. Chavis, and all. He was just as important in that circle, but his dogs have disappeared, you know, disappeared. Now we own the bottom dog in the fourth generation, which is Dixie. All Red Boy Jocko. Now we go to Country, who's the sire in the fourth generation, all the way at the bottom. He's off Split Ears and Miss Cyclone. Split Ears is coming off of Little John, which is an all Chavis dog, and Blondie, which is Big John Little Mate's sister. So Split Ears is all Red Boy Jocko with no outs in them. Now Miss Cyclone is off Cyclone and Red Dallas. Now Red Dallas is coming down off of Little John. Well, actuality, that was Red Dallas 2. Red Dallas 2 is coming down off Little John and Red Dallas. Now let's see who Red Dallas is coming off of. Now I'm in the third generation, about to click on Red Dallas. Now we on Red Dallas. Red Dallas is off Big John and Dallas Girl. Now we see who Dallas Girl is off. Dallas Girl is off Termite. Bred to a daughter of George's Red Ace. George's Red Ace daughter bred a Termite to get Dallas Girl, and Dallas Girl turned around and bred the Big John. Okay, so we got some Termite right there, but then we can't really call that Termite a out, because Termite is coming down off Dangerous Dan, who in turn is coming down off of Chavis Jocko. So you really can't call that a out. Red Boy Jocko still. Now we go up to the next dog, which is Shakur, and we click on her pedigree. She's off of Big John and CP. We go to Batman. Batman is off Crazy Eyes and G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane is off of Hitler and Miss Kitty. I had several dogs. Well, we had several dogs off of Big John and Miss Kitty. My homie Nitty had one off of Big John and Miss Kitty named Johnny Red, and I forgot what the one we had name was, but it was a buckskin red nose color off of Big John and Miss Kitty. I wasn't too hot, I wasn't too hot. It would have been a good stud dog. Nitty's Johnny Red ended up being a great dog, and he was a great producer as well. But I had dogs off Miss Kitty. Okay, and this is Miss Kitty, which is coming. Miss Kitty's coming off of Burns Tom Jack. Red Boy Jocko bred to Hitler, Red Boy Jocko, and that's Big John and Miss Kitty at the top. So we got we got a half brother and sister bred to each other. You know, G.I. Jane and Crazy Eyes, half brothers and sisters, same mother, different daddy. And they made the Batman doll. Okay, now we're gonna click on uh, a phenomenal specimen named Tornado. Now, this dog right here, when I tell you, when you see this dog in person, this picture don't do this dog no justice. When you see this dog in person, this is a phenomenal looking dog. I'm talking about, for one, the picture don't do it justice because it's so dark, and she's such a light color dog. She's almost your cream, light color, blonde color cream, like not like white color, but she's just that light color blonde. Red nose, juggernaut head, and this is one of the dogs from the '90s. So when brothers say what colors, the new colors popping up and this and that, these buckskin red nosed dogs been around with these big John dogs since way back in the days. Way back in the days. It just depends on which dogs you was getting off these particular dogs. Some of y'all wasn't getting the dogs. You was getting brown dogs or buckskin black mass dogs. And because you get a buckskin black mass, you try to say everything coming out buckskin black mass. That's what I tell brothers. The game is bigger than you. You know, the game is bigger than you. So anyway, we talking about Tornado. Great dog, great producing dog. Had my I was privileged enough to see this dog plenty times. Um, like I said, great dog. This is Split Ears sister, Little Mate sister. And Split Ears is like a big version of Tornado. He taller than she is, heavier than she is, but he looked exactly like she did. you know. Um, and like I said, that's the little mate, and that's Tornado. Now, Crazy Eyes was a brown dog, brown color like Big John or Mayday color, black mass. He was our Big John and Miss Kitty. Like I told you, I had not the little mate, the Crazy Eyes, but I had same breedings as Crazy Eyes. And that P Nitty's Johnny Red Dog is the same breeding as Crazy Eyes, Big John and Miss Kitty. Now when we go up to Shakur, we done went to her already. Now when we go to Little John, I always tell you about that Jocko stuff in Little John. When you look at Little John, just look at him. Look at number Chavis dog. So we're not gonna have any outs in this. The only out we came across so far was a termite dog, and that's not considered an out, especially for them dogs way back in the days. I can see if you line bred a termite dog now, never put no more of that Big John stuff in it, and you just line bred it from the '90s, and then you decided you want to put it in it now, then it's gonna be maybe a little different, you know. But back then, coming directly off Dangerous Dan them and directly off Jocko and them dogs, it would have been considered a line breeding type breed, you know. But this is Little John, and like I said, you can look at him and you can see all the Jocko in him. We still Red Boy Jocko without any outs yet. Now we go to triple bred. We're in the fourth generation still. We're going to triple bred. When you look at triple bred's pedigree, Red Boy Jocko, top to bottom, you know. And triple bred is a half brother and sister breeding. Little Babe back to Big John, which is a half brother and sister. Same mother, different fathers. And these are foundation dogs. So you can look out the breedings are being bred, and you can just see the vision that these brothers had when they came to their breeding program. Now we go up from triple bred and we got Crazy Eyes again. We done seen that. So now we up to Little Mama. Little Mama has an out in her. If you go to Little Mama's second generation, you will see MMK's Cocoa 2, bred to Bud. Now, Cocoa 2 is coming down off Mount Man's Cleo Cisco, bred to Norris Cocoa. The Cleo Cisco and the Cocoa dog made Cocoa 2. Cocoa 2 bred to Walkamal's bud and it made Walkamal's baby. So let's add the percentages up here. Bud is 100%. Cocoa is a whatever she is 100%. Okay. Together they make 50 of each. So Walkamal's baby is 50% of Bud, 50% of Cocoa. Now, when baby bred back to Big John 2, that made your little mama dog. Now, little mama is gonna be, she's not gonna be 50% of the Cocoa stuff, uh, uh, 50% of the Big John. She's gonna be 75% of the Big John, 25% of Cocoa. No, in actuality, no, no. Baby is 50% Big John, 50% Cocoa, you know. But when baby bred to Big John 2, that made little mama, uh, what that made little mama? That made little mama 75%, 25%, you know. No, no, I'm still saying it wrong. I'm still saying it wrong. Let's go back to this, man. Let's go back to this. Make sure we correct. Right here, Walkamal's baby, we got a 50% Big John dog, 50% Cocoa 2 dog. When we bred big baby to Big John 2, that left us with 75% Big John dog, 25% Cocoa. And that's little mama. So when little mama bred the split ears, which has no outs in them, that's 100% Big John, 0% Cocoa when it come to Rattler. But in actuality, it's still in the background. You know, it's still there. But when we talking about percentages, each breeding, when we doing 25% or 50%, it's done washed out the the Cocoa 2 dog. And then we keep going. Rattler was bred to Phantom, which was another pure dog. So we talking 100%, which y'all may say still got some lingering around in it, bred to another 100%, which you got Ronda Rousey. You know, so now let's go back to the fourth generation here. We got split ears. We got split ears here in the fourth generation. Then we go to split ears. Like I said, he's little mate to Tornado, which is Little John and Blondie, all Red Boy Jocko. Missy Girl. Now, as we travel up the ped, we in the fourth generation, and we in the top of the fourth generation at Missy Girl. Missy Girl is off Crazy Eyes and Walkamal's Missy. Now, if you look at Walkamal's Missy is off Big John, bred back to his little mate sister. So Crazy Eyes, which is a Big John Miss Kitty, bred back to a Big John uh little mate sister breeding. Once again, we have half brother, half sister breeding. But this time they got the same daddy, different mamas. So one, we got a half brother, half sister, same mamas, different daddies. And on this one, we got half brother, half sister, same daddies, different mamas. And this is what I say, putting in the hard work, putting in the time with these dogs. It don't just happen overnight. These brothers made these great breedings over a 40-year period of time. Now, from Missy Girl, we go up the country, and we done did country already. And we got Shakur and Crazy Eyes, dogs that we done seen in the pedigree already. You know, so our only out came from the Cocoa dog in actuality, because the termite dog is not going to be considered an out. The Cocoa dog is the only dog that brought her out, in Mello Yello's whole pedigree from 40 years ago. And if we go back to yellow, it's further than 40 years. You know, no, if we go back to yellow, it's gonna be about 30 some years, right at 40 years. So no outs besides the Kakor dog in 40 years. But hey, man, I'm just talking a little bit about them dogs, And like I said, this dog right here, the country dog. I seen this dog when he was a puppy. When I had my dog off a Sambo named Crossbow, he was Sambo bred back to another yellow dog, and he was a what true meaning of a lay down dog. You know, he was the true meaning of a lay down dog. The dog I had Crossbow, I had put him on a Jeep Eli dog back in them days, and he lay down so much and so long, just laying there with a grip. He had a grip, but he laid there so long that the other dog got confused. You know, he wasn't putting up no big fight, no none of that type of stuff. Other dog got confused and he just left. It wasn't stopping him, so he left. And when he started leaving, Crossbow got up and worked on him, but he was done jumping out the box area. So the show was over then. I didn't really get too many no scratches or nothing. I won just off him leaving the box. Just off me laying down the whole time, then him leaving the box. But yeah, man, I didn't really like that breed. I felt like they didn't have a lot of it didn't have a lot of ability, especially the ability that his daddy had. It didn't have half the ability that his daddy had in that particular breeding. You know, but yeah, this is a country that we talking about. Far as I remember when he was a puppy, and he ended up being a great dog, and he produced great dogs. I had um, Little Country. Little Country was a great producer, and he was a great dog. You know, um, and don't get it confused because there's another Little Country on online peds. That's not the same Little Country. You know, the Little Country that you see with under Pelican Bay, that's the official Little Country. The other brother, he got a dog that was bred off of Big John dogs, pure walk stuff, but he named his dog Little Country after the other Little Country was already on the yard. You know what I'm saying? So not saying no disrespect about nothing about his dog, but some people may get it confused. You know, if you see my name under the Little Country, that's a different Little Country than the I forgot what the brother kennel name was, but he got the Little Country as well, and he's a great bred dog. You know, he's a great bred dog as well. Let's see. Let me check a couple more of these dogs out in this pedigree, man. Like I always say, I like Split Ears. I really like Split Ears himself. But I didn't buy a whole lot of dogs off of Split Ears that I liked. And that's the thing. I gotta say that I didn't buy them that I liked. I bought other dogs where I could have been buying dogs off Split Ears that would have been hellified dogs. Just like we see Rattler right here. You know, we see Rattler and he turned out to be a hellified dog and he was all Split Ears. I just didn't end up buying the ones that I like. So I'm not gonna knock the line because I didn't buy the dogs that I know I didn't buy the right dogs over certain dogs. Split Is produced great dogs. I just didn't have the ones. I had them off other ones. I'm a Little John fan, like I said. I'm a big fan of the Little John dogs. Um, let me let me see if I can pull Little John up again. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this Little John stuff right here, man. And that's why I always say, man, we got that yellow stuff that don't got that Mayday in it. It's going right. It's not too far back from the Mayfield stuff. For the most part, a lot of brothers, we speak about now. In order for me to see the Mayfield and Mello Yellow, I'm gonna see how many generations I have to go back. Okay, this Mello Yellow's pedigree right here. So we let's see how far we got to go back to see Mayfield dogs. We in the fourth generation. We go to the eighth generation, the 10th generation. We see Mayfield dogs. We see Mayfield Duke in the 10th generation. Some of y'all brothers got to go 10 to 15 generations before you even see Mayday and Yellow. I'm like, dang, who they off of? Who they off of? Then you finally see these dogs. I'm talking about going back to Mayfield dogs. The reason why we 12 generations, no, 8 generations. Let me see, 10 generations rather. You know, um, and then you got the Cables Fang dog down there. And like I always say, man, straight back to the source. This is what I mean. The dogs, the way they was bred, there was no outs in them. Straight back to these dogs. I can comfortably, I can comfortably pick any dog in Mello Yellow's fourth generation comfortably and go all the way back to Yellow. Besides that dog that you seen that had the Concord 2 in the bottom of the pedigree. You know, any one of these dogs and go all the way back to Yellow or Jocko with the Mayfield dogs. So that's why I talk what I talk when I talk what I talk, you know. And I was round in the 90s. I was round when Crossroad gave us Troop. See, a lot of people, this is an inside joke, and a lot of people won't understand what I'm talking about when I say Crossroads Troop, you know. But Crossroad gave us Troop, big black dog. Gave it to him. We had him walking through the projects. You know what I'm saying? Just hanging out, chilling. And them boys didn't do nothing with them. They didn't know what to do with them. They just knew Crossroad gave them to us. This was kind of when we was in between figuring out what's what with these dogs. And think about it, I had some good red boy Jocko dogs at that time, but I know Troop wasn't the kind of dog that I was running. And I'm curious to this day what kind of dog. Now that I know what Crossroad was running and how he was running his dog, Troop had to be some Zebo stuff. You know, he looked too much like them Zebo dogs. And to know how Crossroad was buying them dogs directly from these brothers, going directly to the sources, and he had them all. He wasn't a Jeep dog. He had to be, to me, in my opinion, he had to been a Zebo dog back in them days. You know, but his name was Crossroads Troop. We had him. you know. And Crossroad gave me several dogs where he didn't give me the pedigrees. He just told me, man, you can have these because just like any dog brother from back in the days would tell you, it wasn't, I was trying to make sure get something I can go in there and win with. I wasn't stressing the pedigrees, especially when you say come get them. I know what kind of dogs you got. And if I would have said, yo, what are y'all? I'm quite sure he would have told me if he didn't tell me back then. I just don't remember what two or three of them was off of because he said, come get them. I remember for sure though, he gave me a dog off of the Low Country Spur, the Gene Lug stuff. He gave me one of them dogs. He said, don't do nothing with him. He's sick. He was coming down he had a show and he got sick after the show, like he caught parvo or something, or he got sick and he was giving them fluids and IVs and stuff, and he had just got him back the way he was can eat good and keeping his weight on him. He gave him to me and said, "Don't do nothing with him. Just get him back right and stuff like that." Man, I took him. I got him back right about 2 weeks. Man, I took him out there and did something with him. He curled a dog out in about 5 minutes. A dog that brothers looked at high on in that area. He curled him out in about 5 minutes. Was chasing him, literally chasing this dog up the street. And then he turned around and he died on me. A little while later, not after that show, but because I didn't listen to what the older fella told me to do. Sit on him. That joker had teeth as long as your pinky finger. And he was about a 50-some pound Jeep dog. Nice long muzzle, nice big head, good big bones. You know what I'm saying? You really didn't see a whole lot of skinny Jeep dogs back then, unless they got bred to a dog that really took over, a really skinny dog that took over that Jeep stuff. But you didn't really see a whole lot of real skinny Jeep dogs. A lot of them dogs had pretty good bone. Even the yellow dogs had good bone to them. you know, even the yellow dogs, man. But let's just check this pedigree out, man, as I stroll through it to see some of the dogs, and then we could talk maybe a few old stories or something. Um, Let me see. Let me go into Little John offspring. And for anybody who maybe get confused, this is not CML's Little John. You know, this is Walkamall's Little John. The only one of these dogs that I really know about is Split Ears and Fletcher. Fletcher was a great dog himself, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just gonna leave it at that. You know, I'm gonna leave it at that. He was a great dog himself, but I don't know any of these other dogs on this pedigree list here. But oh, I know Tornado. I lied. I know Tornado as well. You know, um, I remember Dixie, and I remember Dixie. But the Gopher dog, I don't really. Let me see if there's a picture up here for Gopher. I don't remember Gopher, but like I said, on Little John, we had one off Little John. I'm not sure who the mother was. I can't remember right about now. It was off Little John and what that dog? The dog name was Split Tongue. You know, I'm not sure who his mother was, but his name was Split Tongue. And the dog literally had a tongue like a snake. His ears stood up on his head. He was a brown dog, and I'm talking about phenomenal looking dog. He was the perfect size. He wasn't too big. He wasn't too small. He was about a 40-pound dog. You know, maybe 41, 40-pound dog. And he was kind of most brothers that know that line and say he was kind of short for them dogs. But I know how a lot of brothers like these small dogs, and he wasn't small like that. You know, his name was Split Tongue. His ears stood up, his tongue stood out from his mouth, like had a split on the end like a snake. And that when I tell you hyperactive, he was destructive though. He was destructive to himself. He would sit there and bite the chain all day long. He destroyed his teeth. You know, all I can do with him is get some puppies off of him because he destroyed all his teeth in his mouth. Just bite the chain all day long. Bite the chain. I'm talking about he was the kind of dog that you love to see flirt pole, you know. And he one of the dogs that got me sold up on that Little John stuff as far as the athleticism. You know what I'm saying? That split tongue stuff. Um, I had another partner that had some Little John dogs, and but no matter of fact, they were split ear dogs. And his that's why I didn't really like the split ear dogs because he had a light switch on him. He was on and he was off, on and off, and that's what you didn't need back in them days. A on and off dog, you know, exactly what you didn't need. Now, let me check a few more of these dogs out in this pedigree, man. Um, Now let me see if I can find Hitler. Which one of these dogs came off Hitler? Was it Dixie? No. One of these dogs came off Hitler. Let's look at triple bred. Nope. Let me just go on the Big John offspring. Look at Hitler. Let me go on the Hitler offspring. See Johnny One Nut. Now, let me go on the Johnny One Nut offspring. Now, this dog right here I got, you know, um, he was a pretty good dog. His name was Yellow Jack, you know. Um, he was pretty good dog, but I wouldn't bet a bologna sandwich on him back then. Uh, when I say that, I mean he didn't have much ability. He would come across the line, but he didn't have much ability. Um, you know, but and he was a great looking dog. You know, and I bred this dog with I had a house blue dog at the time, a beautiful blue dog, and I bred him to the blue dog. And when I tell you, I got rid of the whole litter, and maybe I should have kept the litter to see how they turned out, far as color wise. You know, I got rid of all them puppies instantly when they was about 4, 5 weeks old. the color of them was so ugly to me. It was like a chocolate color. Man, it was ugly. And like I said, maybe knowing what I know now, it would have been some beautiful dogs probably, you know. But like I said, I was just making this breeding for pets, just to have a couple a pet in the yard or something. Or I probably was gonna sell all of them anyway. I wasn't gonna keep none of them for my program or nothing because I wasn't running them like that. Now I had his brother, his little mate brother. He was a better dog than he was. His name was Snake Eyes. Now, this the dog that I tell brothers that, you know, uh, he would ride. He loved to ride in the car, but he was a barnstormer, and there's like almost like he didn't have a second strategy. You know, he would just shake, 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 and then when he was done shaking, he didn't have a second strategy to go to, and sometimes that could lead to bad things back in them days. But this was a great dog, man. He was a rather tall dog, a lingy dog. He didn't have too much body fat on him. You can't really tell from that picture. But he was a great acting dog. If you can look at the ear setting on that dog right now, that dog ear setting is just like Mello Yello ear setting. You know, same exact ear setting. And like I said, man, this was a great dog right here. He was probably about a good. Well, I got his chain weight 60 pounds on his picture, so I'ma say in actuality he was probably about a good 51-pound show dog. You know, I never had no offspring off him. Now let me explain to you what happened with this dog. Okay, now he got loose. I was going to barber school. I was going to barber school, and I was at my class at the time. So when I came home, I had what any dog man hates to see when they come home, a yard accident. He got loose and went to Nitro. The dog I just showed you a little while ago off of Crazy Eyes and Shakur. He got loose and went to Nitro, you know, and that's how I lost this dog right here. When I got home, he was in his dog house. Nitro was in his dog house. Nitro ended up living and he ended up passing away, you know. Um, Now let me go back to Crazy Eyes because I want to go to Nitro real quick and show you another dog that I got that I had during that time, and I got the breed with Nitro, and I had him on the yard when this particular yard accident happened. So let me go back to Crazy Eyes. Let's go to Big John. Let's go to Big John Offspring. Some reason I don't see Crazy Eyes up there, but what I'm about to do, I'm just gonna click on Mellow Yellow or Fletcher. Here we got Fletcher. I'm gonna click on Fletcher. Then go to Crazy Eyes. Go to his offspring. Second page. Let's go to the Nitro. Go to his offspring. Now this bitch right here, her name is Miss Yellow. I got her from I want to say BBK. If it wasn't BBK, BPK, I forgot the brother who I got her from name, but I got her specifically the breed to Nitro. Now, let's just talk about this breeding compared to what I'm doing now. I'm taking the Big John back to the Mayday. Now, if you look at this breeding, you see it's coming down off yellow 2 on the top, Styles yellow 2 on the top, Southern Styles rather. And then on the bottom side, 305 boys D-Day. D-Day is your Mayday. So we yellow and Mayday again. So that's all that was gonna be, a Big John Mayday cross. But I never made the breedings that I was trying to make with these particular dogs. And this is when I had this dog, Nitro, the dog that I told you, Snake Eyes just now that got loose on the chain accident. It's the same exact time that I had the dog that I told y'all I gave the 8-way shot to without mixing the shot, and the dog passed away. The puppy passed away, for me giving them the wrong shots. But yeah, man, just talking a little bit about that yellow stuff, that Big John stuff, man, and why I take pride in the yellow dogs and the great breedings the brothers made over the years, man. And why I always say you gotta have time in with these dogs, not just a year, not just one breeding. You know what I'm saying? And because you don't got time in with it, that's not a bad thing. You gotta put time in with it. Nobody had time. Nobody started their line of dogs by having a year's worth of time in with the dogs. You know what I'm saying? Unless they running the same dogs, you know. Um, but for the most part, you just gotta get time in, know the dogs, know what you're running, like what you're running, take pride in what you're running, and stand on it, man. Y'all stay safe out there. Y'all stay legal out there with these dogs. Y'all have a great evening, morning. Just depends on where you're watching this video at. PBK9s, and we out.